Morning, party people. You said I wouldn't do it. You thought it was a joke, but here we are. Today is day one of year one. I have taken over this channel. Byte Marx is no more. Emilio, in chains. The rest of the topics, in chains. We're a Pokemon channel now, baby. And oh shit. What? Oh god, he's broken through. He's broken free.
Ha 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 ha! You fool, Callum. You thought mere change could contain me? A video game nerd? You fool!
Oh well, I guess we're back to the regular stuff.
Exactly. And if we're doing a bit that's way too complicated, then you can only know one thing. We're doing a Pokemon episode! Yay!
Aha.
Welcome, everyone, to Byte Marx. And on our special episode today, we have a special guest. Say hello, Marvin.
Hey guys, it's Marvin here. Glad to be here on Byte Marx. I've been listening to the podcast for a while now. Now I'm finally having my own episode, which is super awesome.
See, everyone, if you follow the podcast along, maybe you can be on your own episode. The sky's the limit. So, Callum...
Disclaimer, the sky is not actually the limit. We are the limit.
Yeah, you have to get past me. I'm the skill gate.
I reserve all rights to reject guests.
Callum and I are the gargoyles in Dark Souls 1. You have to...
The barrier of entry.
Yeah.
You have to beat us on a roof with the sun, buddy.
So why don't you tell the guests today about what exactly we'll be talking about? And the audience.
Hey. Emilio, do you have amnesia?
I wouldn't remember if I did.
Okay, well, I need to ask you an important question. Do you have amnesia?
No.
Alright, okay, and we're gonna go into this with just one last question. Gotta know this. Do you have amnesia?
oh god, I see where this is going. You fool, I fell into the trap.
Yes, we're doing repetitiveness today on our videos.
Yeah.
And this is a big problem in games.
We are actually gonna do kind of a 2-for-1, because today's episode is about video game repetitiveness, and we're going to be using Pokemon as a case study.
Because it's the most famous repetitive game in the world, I think.
Today
sounds
on
like FIFA.
Today on Byte Marx, we will get into whether or not about whether or not every Pokemon game is the same. Marvin is here with us today because he is, funnily enough, actually someone who's played a lot of Pokemon games. Why didn't you tell the audience about your experience as a Pokemon gamer, Marvin?
Okay, so me being a Pokemon gamer, it started, I'd say, back in 2010. And a friend of mine got me into Nintendo games and emulating. So he got me this Visual 4 Advance application on my laptop, and then he introduced me to the Pokemon game. So at that time, I didn't know that Pokemon had games. I was just only aware of the anime. And so since there's an anime, the game might as well be good. So I decided to try it out. And obviously playing the original first generation Pokemon Fire knowing all the Pokemon, I was like, okay, I literally have to catch them all. Fell in love with the tagline. And it just grew on from then on. Went on to playing the DS versions. And as of late, I haven't played any of the newer ones, but I do have some experience, so to say, watching online plays, if that makes sense.
So you've been playing these games for on and off, more or less, 11 years now.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a long time to be playing, more or less. Firstly, do you even agree? Are all the Pokemon games kind of the same?
Yes, I would say they are the same. There have been some changes here and there, but the core gameplay elements still the same. Catch a Pokemon, do another Pokemon. Animal cruelty when you think about it. Yeah.
And endangered servitude. Because Pokemon are definitely sentient.
Mr. Mime is really on the border of what I would consider to be. Is he a person or is he an animal?
He's just a dude. He's just a really unlucky dude.
Oh yeah, he's a guy who was going to like a cosplay convention and like Ash Ketchum just trapped him in a Pokeball.
He was just a mime and someone kidnapped him.
Oh yeah, justice for Mr. Mime. So Callum, why don't you start us off with a little bit of background lore into sort of Pokemon? Because you are the other person who knows about Pokemon. I'm the person who knows nothing about Pokemon, really.
Okay, do I really need to talk about like who doesn't know Pokemon at this point?
Give us the Cliff Notes.
Okay, Pokemon is a game about slavery, and you are a young a landowner, a 10-year-old landowner who's out to enslave some pets.
Okay, fair enough.
Or it's an ultra-socialistic society that forces you to get a job when you're 10, but healthcare is free.
Ooh, I'm sure a lot of kids would probably take that bargain, that Faustian bargain. So, Marvin, what can you remember? Like, walk us through, because you've played a lot of these games, walk us through exactly how you play these games. Like, what goes through your mind as you're playing them? What can you recall of, like, your first Pokemon experience? What was it like?
Okay, so my first Pokemon experience, I started off with playing Pokemon Fire Red.
Mm-hmm.
What made me attracted because I love Charmander as a Pokemon. Honestly, one of my favorite Pokemon the whole time. And obviously, you start the game off, 10-year-old kid, then given the choice of choosing one of 3 spots of Pokemons. A Fire type, a Water type, and a Grass type. And for me, I've always chosen a Fire type Pokemon for like the longest. And I know for some experienced players, it's actually a bad idea to choose a Fire type.
Because the first gym was the Rock Gym.
Yeah, and your Fire type will just get decimated. But yeah, Pokemon, I think the collection aspect of it is what also caught my attention because I am a hoarder of things, and you just collect as much as you can. It incentivizes collecting Pokemon, having to catch them all.
It's literally the tag.
Like, yeah, with the whole it being on 2 separate games, where 151 of the Pokemon, original Pokemon, are split between the 2 games. You are forced to make decisions on which one would you want based on which available Pokemon are there in which version. So it's basically try and catch the cutest.
It was DLC before DLC was a thing.
Before DLC was a thing, yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
is that the case? Wouldn't it be more like region locking?
Well, I mean,
almost, because DLC. Okay, so way back in the day, DLC didn't usually mean cutting off content from yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it did used to mean like actual additional content, but obviously that definition has changed.
Did the Pokemon versions inspire the modern day like DLC model?
Callum,
holy shit! Holy shit! EA is just copying Pokemon. Shit.
Yeah, oof, that's a whole conspiracy rabbit hole. But I want to bring, of course, game design into this because this is the part that I think is really interesting. So when it comes to gameplay making, when it comes to game design, have you heard of something called a gameplay loop, Marvin?
I don't think I have, but the term is kind of familiar.
Yeah. Gameplay loops are basically how designers think of their games. The idea is that the gameplay loop is just a set of actions that keep repeating that defines some experience of your game, right? And there are generally speaking 3 types. So there's the primary gameplay loop, which describes like the core essence of your game, like the moment-to-moment gameplay, like Super Mario, right? Every primary loop of Super Mario is run around, jump. Then you've got the second...
It wouldn't even be as complicated as that. I think it's just jump.
Okay, yeah, fair. It's just jump.
Move to end of level, jump.
Move right and jump on the first Super Mario, because you can't really move left.
But like the primary gameplay loop for Call of Duty is shooting bad guys.
It's run, shoot, reload, I think, to some extent. Run, shoot, reload. the secondary gameplay loop is a higher level goal, but it relies on the primary gameplay loop. So going to the Call of Duty example, the primary gameplay loop of Call of Duty is something like run, shoot, reload, die, because, Call of Duty. A secondary gameplay loop would be like get a kill streak, launch a nuke, rise up the leaderboard, right?
I wouldn't even say that. I'd say the secondary gameplay loop is probably like pick up new gun, and then the tertiary gameplay loop would be like the kill streak stuff.
Yeah. The idea is that as these loops expand, you generally have more and more abstract goals for the player, right? And it's less connected directly to what they're doing and more to like higher level stuff. For this reason, mobile games, for example, don't typically have tertiary loops because their content is primarily just click the button, go and go forward. So Marvin, let me ask you this. What do you think the primary loop of Pokemon is? And also, as a secondary question, would you say that Pokemon has two primary loops because there's two different ways that you engage with the game? You've got the overworld and you've also got the battles.
So I would think of it as the primary loop, the battle, battling other Pokemon. Secondary, collecting other Pokemon, because you're always trying to build new teams to beat the gym leaders and your opponent and so forth. Repetitive is like, okay, it's always going to be the same gameplay, and it really isn't that much new as the generations, as they call them, have created, because it's always collect, battle. And then in the newer generation, they'll make it a tag team battle, which is still the same thing, just with two different Pokemon that are used to attack to your opponents to other Pokemon.
Yeah, so the way that I see it is the primary loop of Pokemon is find a fight and fight it, right? Callum, you're welcome to jump in. It's find a fight and...
No, I fully agree.
And
I think the secondary loop of Pokemon is the traveling around the world to look for more interesting Pokemon for the sake of fighting. I think everything's built around the fighting.
The secondary loop is definitely finding the Pokemon. I'm kind of tempted to say, like, maybe leveling them up is also there, because leveling them up is directly related to fighting.
I'd say that finding and training.
The tertiary
is the
loop,
secondary.
I think
that's part of the grind.
You're right, and we'll get to that when you talk about repetitiveness. But like the tertiary loop, I think is the most interesting one here, because I think we all know basically how Pokemon works. Mechanically, you fight with a menu. You have Pokemon. You tell them to do things, they do them.
It's time-based.
It's turn-based. It's turn-based. So far, there have been a resistance to making like a Dark Souls Pokemon game.
Well, it just doesn't work because the more focused gameplay style would require that you have only one main Pokemon. And they tried it with like Pokken Arena, where you just sort of swap members of your team in, and it can work, I guess, but it removes the strategy part of Pokemon. And honestly, the strategy part of Pokemon's kind of the only thing the battles have going for them.
Yes, I was getting to that. So, in my opinion, the tertiary loop of Pokemon is build the roster to complete the gyms, right? Or maybe just completing the gyms is maybe just the
because
tertiary
I think
loop.
building a roster is still part of the secondary loop. The gyms are definitely the tertiary, though. Yeah,
so Marvin, why don't you just quickly explain to the audience what a Pokemon gym typically entails? Because that term probably might throw some people off.
Okay, so a Pokemon gym would sort of be like a trial mixed with a boss battle where a certain gym focuses on one type of Pokemon. There will be opponents who are focused on one type of Pokemon. You will say battle about 3 to 5, depending on how far you progress in the game, until you get to the boss, the gym leader.
The gym leader, yeah.
And gym leader, the objective is to get a badge from the gym leader, so that you can collect roughly about 8 gym badges to qualify to beat the Elite Four at the end of the game. So gym leaders are, like I said, the bosses of the gym. Only the hard parts. Build your roster, try to fight them, sometimes you lose. Luckily, you don't have to start from the beginning. It's just beating them and getting your gym badge.
You mentioned, of course, that the gyms are themed. This, of course, leads into another part of Pokemon's sort of meta strategy, which is that all Pokemons are kind of like they all have these attributes, these types, I think they're called. Some Pokemon are like grass, and some are like water and fire. The original, Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle are fire, grass, and water, respectively. They all therefore have weaknesses. So one of the things I think that comes naturally from the gym is that, as Callum mentioned it earlier, the first gym is a rock gym. So if you pick a fire Pokemon, that's going to be weak to them, which means that you have to do more grinding in order to overcome that advantage and, maybe find other Pokemon that won't be as weak. Am I right?
Yeah, but that's generally why fighting gyms are like, fire starters are considered to be the hard mode XD, because even though you get the benefit of not having to look for a fire type later, you're gonna get stomped by the first gym.
The first gym is that difficulty gate. But if you pick other amongst the starters, one that's good against rock type.
Yeah, that would be the water.
The water type.
Well, water and grass, actually.
Water, yeah, water and grass.
I'm actually let me share in the chat right now. This is the Pokemon type matchups.
Oh wow, that is quite a chart. I will include this, of course, in the video for you guys to see at home. This looks like a DLC list on a Ubisoft game.
Correct, yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. To be fair, this is like pretty late gen because it has stuff like fairy and dragon and shit on it.
How is a bug type different to a grass type?
Because just bugs aren't made of grass, idiot.
But Bulbasaur is he made of grass?
No, but he has a giant plant on his back. But like grass types are like Oddish, who is literally just a radish with like feet and arms and shit. And a bug type is like Caterpie, who is a caterpillar.
Okay, but then
Caterpillar.
But how is ground different to rock?
Ground can be like sand. I never said Pokemon made sense.
Oh boy. Hey, what the heck is a normal Pokemon type?
A very boring one.
Very basic.
Normal for life.
And why are they immune to ghosts?
Because normal people don't believe in ghosts, obviously.
Is Mr. Mime a normal Pokemon? He's just like a tax accountant.
No,
That's
he's
like,
psychic.
What the heck? This is...
Yeah, he's a psychic Pokemon because when you see him, you take psychic damage.
So
that's a D&D reference.
That was that actually feeds lovely into a question that I was thinking. Like, how much time would you say, Marvin, Callum, would you spend if you're playing the game? Like, do you spend more time preparing to fight, or do you spend more time actually fighting?
Easily preparing.
Easily the preparation.
Well, I would say preparing for like a gym, because I spend most of my time in Pokemon grinding.
And what do you grind for?
Levels, definitely. I assemble a team pretty like as early on as I can, because no one else thinks to bring 6 Pokemon. It's just a really big advantage, and it's stupid. But you can usually find a good type coverage in like any starting area, and then you just sort of power level them until they can stomp any gym.
Oh boy. Marvin, is that your experience as well? Is that how you play the game?
That is... that's basically how I play the game. I don't play with the types. I just try and build a strong team that can just decimate using brute force only. I only realize how important the type of Pokemon is. I'd say 2 years after I started playing Pokemon.
Wow.
And then I was confused.
Marvin has chat energy.
Yeah, Marvin has chat energy. He just brute forces his way. No, but I actually...
He got like 5 Rattatas and he just made them fucking incredible.
Marvin, the king of the Rattatas. Is that a rat Pokemon? Please tell me that's a rat Pokemon. Oh, it's a rat Pokemon.
Marvin, king of Rattata. That's a reference to our first stream ever.
Only the true fans will know that reference. But actually,
King Graham.
That actually does lead me to another good segue, and that is the difficulty curve of Pokemon all jacked up? Because like both of you have just said, like Marvin, you said that you don't really pay all that much attention to the strategy and you get through the games, right? And Callum, you just said that you just kind of power grind your team, right? So is there actually like a real difficulty curve that the game introduces you to, or is it just kind of all jacked up?
I do want to just throw in here that Marvin doesn't pay attention to this stat chart that I have provided, and I totally do. But there is always a point in Pokemon where I just stop playing. Like, I barely ever finish. I think I have beaten one Pokemon game out of the, 5 I've played. Because I get bored. Like, you get to, a certain level, and everyone's level 50, and it takes so long to get to level 60 or whatever, and I just give up.
And Marvin, how many Pokemon games have you finished?
I have finished 2 Pokemon games.
Yowzers.
It was some of the longest I've ever put into a game. I'd say the gym leaders preparing you to fight end-game content would be the need for job strongest fighters in the game. So the difficulty really starts in from then on. They Pokemon are in the high levels, and then you get your different types. Like there's one elite or member who uses dragon type only Pokemon,
that seems unfair.
And
dragon type Pokemon.
The dragons don't have any effective attacks against them.
Oh wow, that's pretty cheap.
No, you know what? Ice is supposed to be super effective against them, but every single time feels like it does nothing.
That time, the Pokemon probably like in the high 50s, and you just still beat your last gym leader with a level 40 Pokemon, and you're thinking that, okay, no, Elite Four, I can take them on, but no. I think the difficulty starts properly from then on.
Okay. And of course, I think this is super interesting. I'm getting a lot of interesting stuff that I didn't know about. Callum, question for you. Pokemon is described as an RPG. Do you think the fact that it is an RPG makes it super repetitive, that you have to grind for levels, and not let's say, for example, every Pokemon had kind of fixed stats, and it was more about choosing the right Pokemon, absent character levels and things like that?
Pokemons is... I'm struggling to think of a reason why it's called an RPG. I guess it's because you get to pick your Pokemon.
You are you're role-playing the trainer, aren't you?
Are you though? Because there's no. I guess there's no definitive team of Pokemon that goes through. So I guess you could say it's a role-playing game. But yeah, role-playing games are grindtastic.
Yeah, definitely. Especially JRPGs. JRPGs have a legacy of being very grindtastic. Because for a long time, many gamers may not realize this, but for a long time, basically JRPGs were very big, story-heavy kind of things, and they didn't really innovate much in terms of combat because they didn't need to. They were the only story game in town. But then the West caught up.
Adventure games.
Yeah, exactly.
In the West, it's the equivalent of adventure games.
Yeah, adventure games were the only story, real heavy game in town. Most of the other games didn't have much in the way of narrative. But then eventually, over time, people realized, hey, you can have story and gameplay. And then subsequently, many of the JRPGs either had to evolve or die out. Marvin.
Or stay exactly the same, Final Fantasy.
Yeah, and pander to an increasingly old and easily frustrated and easily angered clique of internet nerds.
Be quiet. I've dedicated so much of my life to Final Fantasy XIV. It's nuts. Actually, now that I brought that up, I want to say that in the same vein as Pokemon, it also has quite a bit of grind to it, and it's very cathartic. That's how grind gets you. Is it's very cathartic to fall into the routine of doing something over and over again to watch a little bit of progress go up, and you kind of trick yourself into saying I'll just do a couple more fights, maybe I'll level up, and as soon as you take a step away from that process, it holds no more sway over you. I haven't played Final Fantasy 14 in weeks now.
Whoa.
Just because, like, the routine got interrupted a bit.
Interesting. Marvin, when it comes to your experiences of playing Pokemon, what actually keeps you going back for more? Like, when you start playing it, what actually keeps... Is it the same experience to what Callum described? It's like you get hooked on, just one more level, just one more fight, something like that.
I'm actually really interested in some of the stories, even though, again, with the whole story of Pokemon, repetitive, each of Pokemon, and then there is this evil team, originally with Team Rockets, and there are different evil teams along different games that are trying to harness the power of some legendary Pokemon, and in the hopes of trying to control the world or anything like that. So the story actually is kind of interesting.
There are... I want to say two things to Marvin here, and I want to hear his opinion on them. One, Team Rocket was the best team, because every other team's plan is fucking ridiculous.
I 100% fully agree.
Yeah, because Team Rocket's just like fun dog nappers, and it's great. Everyone else is like, we're going to bring the ocean to the world! And it's... No, what? You're gonna die. Why would you ever do that? Everybody. And also, second point, legendaries are stupid.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
Ooh, okay. It's explain why.
Well, they're like a cool trophy, but I think the best legendaries that were ever in the games were the 3 legendary birds in like Fire Red and Leaf Green, because they weren't the big story, You didn't get... like railroaded up to a magic temple where they were summoned from the ethereal realm or whatever, and it just like broke up the adventure. You could just find Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno in places around the world by exploring. That's the best thing. Legendaries should be like a special prize that you get for going out of your way to check every cave. It shouldn't be now you fight the legendary. It's that part of the game.
Okay. Interesting tech. For me, legendaries were just like the trophy Pokemon. It was always the grind of getting them because not a normal Pokeball can be used. You have to somehow find a way to get a Master Ball. If I'm correct, I'm not mistaken, there is only one Master Ball.
Yeah.
Game.
Only one per game.
And with 3 different legendary Pokemon to select, so there's the whole choice of which one do you use it on.
Well, you use it on Mewtwo, because he can't be caught with regular balls, and you have to waste like 1,000 Ultra Balls on him before you can catch him.
Jeez, that sounds awful.
But he's really strong. You can only get to him if you beat the Elite Four. And then there's literally no point.
I was about to say.
Yeah. There is zero purpose. He is the final boss of the game, and if you catch him, you win. And if you save the Master Ball, it's over in like a turn.
Actually, this is actually really interesting, because from my perspective, Pokemon is, as you know, as an outsider looking in, Pokemon is a confluence of like a bunch of different elements that all really seem to be designed to make it kind of as addictive as possible. And I really want both of your opinions on this. So from my perspective, Pokemon has a couple of things that go for it. Number one, it has the collecting aspect. Just like how trading cards and baseball cards and all that stuff, Tazos, remember Tazos? People go bananas over, collecting things. I think the aspect of Pokemon that makes it, one aspect at least, is the fact that you can collect them. That gotta catch them all, as Marvin said. There are so many different types of Pokemon, it's very easy to get suckered into catching them all. That's the first aspect. The second aspect is that I think it plays a little bit on like the parasocial relationship that many players can have with their trainer catching Pokemon, because maybe they have an animal at home and they've always wanted, what if my animal could, what if my dog could shoot fire? And then I'm sure there's a dog Pokemon that can shoot fire.
Well, there's a bunch, but like just putting this out there, I'm very glad none of my pets are flammable.
True. Imagine the messes they would leave on the carpet.
Well, just imagine if your cat was a dragon type.
Ooh.
That would suck.
Yeah, probably. You try to spritz them, and the spritzes just would not be effective.
Give me food or hyper beam.
Wait, the dragons can shoot lasers?
Yeah.
What?
That's like one of the special moves.
That's the only reason to get dragons,
They
because
can shoot lasers.
I mean, yeah, that's like the dragons are rad, and they need the raddest thing, and the raddest thing is lasers, Emilio. What aren't you getting about this?
You know what, I wasn't on board. I'm on board now. Dragons and lasers, that's pretty cool. So we've got the collecting aspect of collecting multiple different kinds of things, rarities and so on and so forth. Then you've got, I think, the unique relationship between the trainer and the animal, right? Those are very particular kinds of RPGs that don't exist like in other kinds of things, right? And then the third thing I would argue is the RPG nature of itself, right? Here's my pitch to you. I think you could make a Pokemon game without the RPG levels, but you'd have to give all of the Pokemon fixed stats, and you'd have to make the combat system way more involved than just picking an option from a menu, right? You'd have to have like commands and positioning and all kinds of other things. Like the way that a Pokemon battle, like Marvin, you mentioned that you've seen the anime, right? How do the fights look in the anime compared to the game?
I'd say they're more dynamic, but they still follow the same rules that are turn-based.
But I've only seen a couple of episodes, but doesn't like Ash Ketchum do like ridiculous nonsense, in order to win his fights? He'll tell his Pokemon to do like very unconventional things.
He really does, because like going back to the type matchups, I've seen Ash use Pikachu on a rock type Pokemon and win the match. And you look at the Pokemon type matching, it's lightning is not effective to ground. I mean,
or anything, really. Lightning is a shit type.
Wait.
Fuck you, lightning nerds.
Oh lord, we're coming out strong against the lightning nerds.
Like, lightning is super effective against two things. It's water and flying. It is not very effective against three things, and one thing is completely immune to it.
So no matter how hard Pikachu try. But you see, that's what I mean. Like, I've seen episodes of Pokemon the anime. They don't look like the game, in the sense that like you're just doing like a back and forth kind of thing. For a lot of the time, it feels like the position of where the Pokemon is really important to like its attack, and like maybe the local terrain and the local environment.
The reason that happens is the same reason we had card games back in the day, and it's because the technology wasn't quite there yet to give us the same experience. It's very easy to imagine Pokemon battles on screen and in manga and whatever, because that's where Pokemon all started. But
it started.
Well, I think it's.
It wasn't a game before it was a.
I believe it was a manga before it was a game.
I can understand that.
But I don't quote me on that. I'm not super sure. Anyway, it's very easy to like add tension and positioning and things in a 3D visual world like that, where it's all the limitations are by imagination and how much you can draw. But in gaming, the technology wasn't there yet, and that's why they had to do turn-based. And now that the technology is there, Pokemon does this weird thing where it seems to hold its own design as sacred.
Yeah, see, this is what I was going to get to, and I'd love both of your opinions on this. We can start with you, Marvin. Like, of course, Callum, I agree with you. Pokemon is super limited. Like, obviously, we were never going to get Doom before we could have the power to actually do even 3D graphics. But now we do have the power to do these things, right? Even our phones can do it. So the question is, why hasn't the Pokemon game series evolved its gameplay? Why is it the same fundamental game every single time? Marvin, what do you think?
I think it's the fans, the really diehard fans that were committed to the whole RPG-ness of the game. The original Game Boy version of the game. Graphic-wise, it wasn't really that much to look at, but people still thoroughly enjoyed the game. And looking at the modern version now of, say for example, Pokemon Sword and Shield, 3D graphics, but still core gameplay, turn-based. That formula has stuck with the fans and hasn't changed throughout all these years.
So you're saying it's nostalgia the company, I think they're called Game Freak. Is that the name?
They might be the Pokemon company now. I remember they changed their name a few years ago, but they'll always be Game Freak.
Yeah, it's like, so you're saying that they're basically kind of held hostage by their fans, in a way. That the pressure to every time they make a new Pokemon game, everyone who's played all of the other Pokemon games is like, grumble, grumble, grumble. They didn't put my favorite Pokemon in, but I'm still going to play the game. And it's not really the case that they are getting new players in. It's just they have a dedicated fan base of old players.
Yeah, they really are banking on that nostalgia effect.
That's kind of interesting, because in a way it's a losing strategy, because those people will, I hate to say this, but they will grow up and die at some point. I'd like to contrast this, because you said you were a Nintendo fan, right? I would argue that if there's been one franchise that has most readily adapted to the changing times, it's probably the Mario franchise, right? Because the Mario games are very simple.
No. What? Excuse you?
Okay,
Did you just say that Mario adapts to changing times?
Okay, well, let me make my case here. All right, let me make my case. The first point that I'd like to make is that, number one, the Mario games started off as two-dimensional platformers. But increasingly, over time, we've seen the Nintendo company experiment with alternative ideas for Mario games. Games that take the core fundamental gameplay, movement through a space, but reinvent it for different things. Mario Odyssey, for example, will play with perspectives. It will play with different mechanics. It has, for example, hat possession, right? These are all things that were never dreamt of in the original Mario game. But they, at core, represent the fundamental part of the game, but they've adapted it to something new. How many other variations of Mario has been produced? Paper Mario, RPGs, racing games, sports games, etc., etc. Mario is a very flexible franchise that continues, I think, in some ways to reinvent itself for different contexts and different audiences. What do you think?
Okay, first of all, I would say that the Mario Odyssey point is kind of moot, because that's the only time in the recent years that Mario has innovated in the slightest, gameplay-wise.
What about Mario Galaxy?
Most of the time, the Mario innovations most of the time are essentially like add-ons. Like, you get new suits and new power-ups. Mario Galaxy is another case, but remember, Mario Galaxy came out in like 2008. We're talking modern times here. Modern times are the 20-teens, my guy.
Well, no, I'm not necessarily saying that they can reinvent the wheel. I'm just saying that they are willing to expand the definition of Mario. Because they could have made, they could have done the Sonic route and made mostly two-dimensional, side-scrolling games, and then the occasional, 3D flop. But they didn't do that. Mario has at least tried to come to the table with some new ideas. In some respects, many new Mario games do bring some new ideas, and then you get spin-offs like Luigi's Mansion.
No, we can't say that. We can't live in a world where we throw down Call of Duty every year for being basically the same game but with add-ons, and then praise Mario for doing exactly the same thing. No. Mario's core gameplay loop has barely changed in years, and the only new addition to it was Mario Odyssey.
Marvin, what do you think?
I mean, I would say even Mario Galaxy doesn't shake up the formula that much.
Marvin?
Marvin?
Marvin, hello?
Hello?
Oh, we lost you there for a second.
I'm still here.
Okay, cool.
Mario. Okay. Looking at Super Mario 64, the Nintendo 64.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That
was the first foray into 3D world.
Yeah.
Of Mario. That was seen as an innovation for them. So they still decided to do both 2D Mario games and 3D Mario games as well. So technically, it has gone through with a repetitive formula here and there. Galaxy 1, Galaxy 2. Obviously just added the hat function to the mix and reinvented the game. To me, it's basically it's exactly like Super Mario Galaxy, just with the ability to copy powers.
Okay, no, Look, I'm not trying to make the claim that they are reinventing the wheel. I'm not even trying to say that they're really fundamentally innovating. What I'm hopefully trying to get across is I think that if you compare a game like Mario, right, to a game like Pokemon, it feels like Mario has, at least in some respects, tried to do some new things over time. It made the shift from two-dimensional to three-dimensional, and that, a two-dimensional Mario game handles very differently to a three-dimensional Mario game. It's still running and jumping, but now you have to do running and jumping in a 3D environment. Whereas Pokemon hasn't made that. It hasn't, like, the fact that the games are in 3 dimensions now hasn't really meant anything to the gameplay.
Yeah, but you see, that's the fallacy, isn't it? Is that Pokemon is re-releasing everything, it's re-reporting everything, and that's not good. That's not like innovation or anything. I agree with you there. Pokemon could stand to innovate a little bit more, like the new game Pokemon Legends Arceus, which we have to talk about soon.
Yep, we have to get on that one now.
Yes.
It is a fallacy to think that any of Nintendo's other, like, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Franchises?
Main property games. Like, main properties are not just re-releases of the same gameplay loop. I mean, with Zelda, like, it gets to the point that you can start predicting which items in Zelda you'll get first, or which levels in Mario you'll go to first, because they keep releasing the same games, but they change just enough of it for you to think it's a different thing. True innovation isn't Majora's Mask in Zelda, okay? That's not true innovation when compared to Ocarina of Time. But Wind Waker is, because that changes, the primary gameplay loop by forcing you to have sailing as a mechanic.
See, this is
Mario Odyssey is the Wind Waker to it's basically all other Mario games.
Yeah, see, this is where I also agree with you. I don't think we actually disagree, because my point is that they aren't changing the primary gameplay loop necessarily, but they are doing things to disguise the fact that they aren't changing the primary gameplay loop. Pokemon doesn't do that. Pokemon's new games come up with new Pokemon, but they don't attempt to disguise the primary gameplay loop. That's my point.
Yeah. Every new Pokemon game it just adds what comes after tertiary?
Quaternary?
Tritiary?
No, it's I think it's
Tritiary?
No. Tertiary is third. It would be quaternary for 4.
Yeah, but I remember 4th is also something with like a ter sound in it. But anyway, they add a 4th gameplay loop. And that's just like the bells and whistles. That's like underground bases in Diamond and Pearl.
Marvin, I actually, I want your opinion. Do you think, was it maybe, yeah, it's quaternary. It's quaternary structures. Which is, it doesn't sound...
Sorted that out.
Yeah, but like Marvin, I think that's a fair evaluation here. Like my actual beef is that games like Mario Odyssey, games like Legend of Zelda, are disguising the fact that the primary gameplay loop is not changing at all. Right? They're doing a good job of disguising it. But Pokemon doesn't do that. Pokemon just adds more things to the pot, but it doesn't actually attempt to disguise the stew. As a what would be another food metaphor? The stew is a casserole. There we go. Yeah. It just adds more vegetables.
Well, stew works. You can't just keep adding vegetables to stew. That's not how you make a stew.
Tell that to the people at Game Freak.
You got me.
Yes. My revenge is complete. No, but like, yeah. Marvin, am I right? Is Callum right? Like, what do you feel?
Can you repeat your question again?
Well, the way yeah, sure. No, I was just going to describe it as, like, I think what's going on here is that games like Zelda, Mario, all that stuff, they make attempts to disguise the fact that they aren't changing the primary gameplay loop, right? Kind of what a genre is, really, in a sense, is a primary gameplay loop, right? That transcends, many other things. But they do go to the efforts of disguising that fact. But Pokemon doesn't do that. Pokemon remains the same primary gameplay loop, the same presentation of that loop, and it just adds, like as Callum said, it adds a quaternary loop. It adds a loop that is just adding more Pokemon to the collection cycle.
So I did do some research on changes that have happened in Pokemon.
Yeah, sure.
It's still core gameplay. They've tried introducing cool battle features like power-ups and whatnot, like for example, using Mega Stones for Mega Evolution, which gave certain Pokemon a fourth evolution form, which was supposed to be superior and whatnot. That didn't last, and there was Z Crystals, which gave Z is South African. So it's still cool gameplay. They have tried making changes here and there to some varying degrees of success.
Yeah, no, that's sort of good to hear, because it feels like Pokemon it was made together. The casserole that is Pokemon, I don't know why I've got food on the brain, was made together by combining elements that are both A, repetitive, but B, designed to keep people playing. Like, it's no surprise, I think, that a lot of the early success of Pokemon games can be attributed to the fact that they were on mobile devices. You know, you said you were playing them on the Game Boy, right? Now, that meant you could play it on the go. You could play Pokemon while you were in the car, while you were waiting in line. You know, you could have that experience. And if you're a little kid and you don't want to be doing whatever it is that you're doing, playing Pokemon is a good way to escape from that, even if it is not necessarily the most riveting moment-to-moment experience.
Can I introduce an idea to this boy soup?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Please don't call us a boy soup ever again.
Well, my chum Stu. I think we're focusing on the wrong thing here.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, I don't think this is a matter of primary gameplay loop or gameplay loops at all. I think it's a matter of formula.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Pokemon is a franchise, and the point of a franchise is that you find a successful gameplay loop that combines, the right kind of audio and sound, or audio and sound are the same thing, audio visual design, story typing, and basically everything about it combines to make a successful game, and you want to make more games like it, but that build on the concept, and that's where it goes from gameplay loops to formula.
Ooh, that's a good distinction. I'm glad that you brought it up. So the real problem isn't necessarily that Pokemon is repetitive. It's more that Pokemon is formulaic.
Yeah, it never breaks formula. That's why things like Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild are, if you don't mind a pun, a breath of fresh air, because they shake up the formula. There's the Breath of the Wild's core gameplay loop is exactly the same as Zelda's was. It's exploration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it does it differently by shaking up the formula.
You can kill Ganon immediately. Or you can try
it does it by it changing a lot of the gameplay of the general stuff, like giving you a dedicated jump button and letting you climb anything and whatever. And that's the thing. Pokemon doesn't shake up its formula, though.
Marvin, would you say that, now you mentioned fans, would you say that one of the reasons why it doesn't do this is because it doesn't have to? The fans will keep buying it if there's a new Pokemon that comes out. Hello, Marvin?
Man, South African internet fucking sucks.
Oh yeah, you're telling me. We left off where I was asking you about basically Pokemon doesn't have to change because, well, the reason why Pokemon doesn't want to change up its formula is because they don't have to. And one of the reasons is because they have fans who will just buy into the formula, right?
Yeah.
But knowing this,
continue.
But knowing this, of course, I think it's about time that we talked about the new Pokemon game that's coming up. That's been teased. And I'll let you you guys take this away because I don't know much about it other than the memes.
Okay. The new remakes. Well, let me talk about all. I've got big opinions about this.
Oh boy.
Pokemon Legends Arceus looks like dog shit.
Marvin, what do you think?
Exactly the game that I thought Pokemon should make when Breath of the Wild came out. Because I saw that gameplay style and I was like, man, Pokemon would work so well in this. Because it's actually about adventure. But the thing is, they release a trailer, right? And they release this trailer, and it's exactly what I've been saying about Pokemon thinking its design is sacred for some reason. Because they have patches of long grass over flat grass textures. and paper-looking trees. It is the worst-looking game I have ever seen in my life, and Pokemon thought, this is good enough for our premiere trailer. That is the attitude Pokemon is taking into this, which is, it doesn't matter what it looks like, these idiots will buy it anyway.
That's a dangerous attitude to have. Marvin, what do you think about Pokemon Arceus? I assume you also have strong opinions.
Not really. I'm with Callum on it not looking one of the best. It's not one of the best looking games. Yeah, going back to what he said as well, Pokemon could literally make dog shit and people will just buy it simply because it has the name Pokemon on it.
Thank you.
I mean, looking at it, Pokemon Company is one of the biggest media franchises, so they can literally sell the idea of Pokemon.
They had the movie and all that other stuff. It's way bigger than a game now. It's transcended because of capitalism. It has transcended. Yeah, exactly. It's what you said. It has transcended the confines of a video game and become a multimedia movement, an empire, if you will.
It's a cult.
Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. I read about the remakes of the Diamond and Pearl games, and we know. So all of what I'm saying now is basically based on hearsay, because Nintendo is so good at not.
You mean Game
talking
Freak?
About details? Well, no, Nintendo is publishing it.
What? Whoa!
I think so.
That's crazy.
I mean, maybe not. I don't know. But doesn't Nintendo normally publish Pokemon games? Isn't that why they're like DS exclusive?
I don't know. I've never had a DS.
Oh, well, Nintendo is involved somehow, I'm sure. But anyway, Game Freak or Nintendo or God or whoever is being very coy with the details of the Pokemon games. And the Diamond and Pearl remakes, nothing is being said about them, except that they are going to be very faithful remakes.
Oh boy. That means formula time, baby!
Now, I have also heard that there will be, like, quality of life improvements, but this is not the attitude you should be having when you're remaking a game. A remastered game should use the benefits of modern technology to improve where the game failed.
Yeah. The best example of that is the Resident Evil remakes. They're really, really good, and they benefit from all of the advances in Resident Evil technology. Mostly spun off from Resident Evil 4, because of course, that was a pivotal game. The only good one. Yeah. It's funny. Like, we talked about, potentially the cult of Pokemon. I feel like a lot of game franchises are kind of like this. Sonic's franchise is not really a cult. It's more just like a weird 4chan board.
It's like a cult, but it's one of those cults where everyone's a bit too eager to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that's true. But like, I think the big problem for me with Pokemon is that, like, there are ways that we could do these games better. Like, you guys brought up a bunch of times, like, Pokemon could be actually a game about exploration. It could be a game about exploring a world. Because I think the thing that really is lacking in a lot of the Pokemon games is actually world building. Like, making you feel that you care about these places, that these people, that live in them, these islands and archipelagos and, wherever, right? These interesting places.
I mean, like Pokemon X and Y, I almost never hear anyone talk about them, but they had a thing called Pokemon Ami or something like that, where you get to feed your Pokemon cakes and pet them, and just like that little bit of interaction made me care about the Pokemon so much more. I am doing this because I want to interact with Pokemon. Let me, like, interact with them. Let me do things. To play with them or whatever. You
could almost make like a reverse Monster Hunter, where instead of you hunting the monster, it's you with the monster, quote unquote the monster, doing stuff.
Trainers.
Hunting trainers.
These Pokemon. Yeah, you're a Poke eco-terrorist.
All right. Well, I think we've done this topic some justice, and at danger of becoming repetitive ourselves.
Wait, before we go, I want to say something about your idea, Emilio.
Yes.
It wouldn't work. Pokemon need to have levels.
Yeah, I guess. But what if you do what Monster Hunter does? You don't have levels, but you have gear that you can upgrade by by hunting monsters and using their bits to make better
So
gear.
you want to kill and skin Pokemon to attach to your other Pokemon to make them stronger.
All I'm saying is the stake has to come from somewhere, Callum.
No, you're a freak. Shut up. Listen to me. Pokemon need to have levels because of evolutions. Otherwise, you have to make it time-based, and if it's time-based, then why wouldn't someone just like run around the starting village a billion times until they have a Charizard?
Okay, you got me. I think that's a very good point. I think it's 1-1 for our back and forth.
Boom.
I want us to end off, and obviously, I think this will be a fun moment. What are your favorite Pokemon and why? Marvin, go.
Favorite Pokemon?
Your top 3.
Top 3?
Top 3.
Okay. Top 3, number 1, Charizard. Simply because it's a fire dragon. Number 2 would be... Oof. Oh, you really put me on the spot there. Do legendaries count?
Yeah, sure. Any kind of Pokemon.
Second would be Mewtwo. Based from the movie Mewtwo Strikes Back.
I've actually seen that movie.
Mewtwo is just a badass Pokemon. And then looking at his backstory, how he's a clone of Mew that's just been enhanced and can...
Yeah, that movie goes into like some deep places about like the nature of being and like existential philosophy. It's really sad.
And then number...
Yeah, come on, Marvin, number 3.
It can be deep at times, when you least expected. Number 3 would have to be Deoxys.
What is that?
Which is a space alien. It's a space alien Pokemon.
Space alien?
That, yeah.
Callum?
It can change form based on what the situation is. So
Come back to
get like your attack mode.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a space alien like a transformer almost.
Yeah.
But not a robot in disguise. Oh man, we got to do a Transformers episode at some point.
Do we have to?
Yes, I like Transformers, Caleb. I've read the comics. I know the lore.
You're a weirdo.
I think that's well established. What are your 3 favorite Pokemon?
Well, actually, what are yours?
What are mine? I don't actually know the names. But of the Pokemon that I've seen, I'm just going to describe it and maybe you can tell me what it is. Okay, so Pokemon 1. It's a bunch of like magnets that are all tied together. I just thought that was... Yeah.
Magnemite. No, not Magnemite. What's the evolved version?
I don't know, but it's...
Trio?
No, it's... fuck, wait. Hang on. I'm on the Pokédex now because I totally remember all of my. It's Magneton. Magneton.
I just thought it was the dumbest looking thing ever. It's like a sentient magnet. Oh god, it would be in constant pain. That's number 3. Let's see, number 2. Probably Gyarados, just because that's just a big lizard. That's just a big sea serpent. What's not to love about that? And also in the Pokemon movie, the trainer rides his Gyarados to the island. And I just thought, oh, that would be super useful. Like, duh. Why wouldn't you want to ride a Gyarados? You know? It's like and it shoots lasers, if I'm not mistaken. Gyarados can shoot lasers. I don't know if it's a dragon type.
Yes, it can. You can shoot Hyper Beam.
Ah, so it's a dragon type. Oh, this makes so much sense now. So it's like an Eastern dragon. And the third, my top Pokemon is the sword. I don't know what it's called. I know it's a sword.
It's something saber. Wait, fuck, I remember it so well. Shit, let me look it up real quick.
It
is. No, it keeps bringing up Sword and Shield. No,
Honedge.
One of the actual.
No.
What?
Is it called Honedge? Honedge.
Honedge,
Yes.
that's it, Honedge. And you can upgrade it to either a sword and shield or 2 swords.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I love it.
It's so good. It's my favorite. It upgrades, it levels up to Dowblade, which is just 2 swords, and then Aegislash, which is a sword and shield.
I'm just going to read the Pokédex entry really quickly, because I just find this to be amazing. Like, apparently this Pokemon is born when a departed spirit inhabits the sword. It attaches itself to people and drinks their life force.
Honedge's soul once belonged to a person that was killed a long time ago by the sword that makes up Honedge's body. Yeah, the Pokemon universe doesn't fuck around.
It's just like Arthurus's like Lich Blade. It's like Frostmourne. It's just a sword. That's so funny. But no delaying. What are your 3 favorite Pokemon?
Okay, third favorite is Rotom.
What is that?
Rotom is he's kind of like a legendary, but he's an electric ghost type, and he's really cool because there's I don't remember which game you get him in. I think it's X and Y. It's either I think it's X and Y. And basically, if you go up to certain appliances, you can interact with them, and Rotom will change his typing based on whatever you click on. So, like, if you go to an oven, he becomes heat Rotom, and then he's electric fire.
That's so cool. That's interactivity that I like.
That's great. That's why I love Rotom. Cyndaquil, because he's adorable.
Cyndaquil. Is that the praying mantis one?
What? No, he's the fire porcupine.
Oh,
he's one of the starters, actually.
Oh, I've seen that. I think I had a Pokemon card of a Cyndaquil back in the day.
Cyndaquil is the best, and I love him.
Okay. And like one?
Every time I'm presented with the opportunity to pick him, I do.
Ah, that's so sweet. And what's number 1?
Well, I think Cyndaquil would be number 1. I'm struggling to think of a third one that I'd rarely pick. Gosh.
Is it Mr. Mime?
Go for utility? No, it would probably be like an EV upgrade, like Espeon or Umbreon.
Even in this podcast, Callum is metagaming the Pokemon strats.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what would make my team very effective, because I've got an electric type that's got great stat coverage and a fire type. So what I could rarely use is an EV, and then I can just level them. I have a fondness for all of the EV upgrades.
Guys, viewers at home, please rate our Pokemon teams. Tell us who would win in a fight. Probably not me, because I picked like the worst Pokemon.
What did you pick again? You picked an electric steel type, a ghost steel type, and
Gyarados.
And a water flying. I am destroying you with Rotom alone.
I got annihilated.
Yeah, I just have to make him like electric and water or something, and then you're dead. You're gone.
I'm not gonna, get out of the gym. I gotta be training. What about you, Marvin?
And I've got Cyndaquil, which demolishes your special defense.
Marvin?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just like, we're just gonna say like, oh yeah, what about you? How would your team do against Callum's?
Okay, so you have fire types, so those will be not effective against each other. The sad thing about Charizard is that it's, I think, was it flying type or not a fire flying?
No, it was it's just pure fire, I believe, but it can learn flying and dragon. Let me look it up. Charizard is...
Welcome to the part of the podcast where we're just on the Pokédex.
Yeah, no, he is fire and flying.
So yeah, he would be weak against electric, against Rotom.
Chocolate.
I can't believe you metagamed this Pokemon team.
What's the other one?
Deoxys is psychic.
But you see, I have ghost Pokemon, which do extra damage to psychics.
Okay, so I think we've established that Callum would win, and maybe Marvin would come second, and then I would come third with my trash team of a sword, a bunch of flying magnets, nerds. And a giant dragon. Alright.
I am king of the Poke Nerds. This was the most successful coup in history.
Yeah, definitely. That's got to be on the next t-shirt. Callum, king of the Poke Nerds. Marvin, do you have anything that you would like to shout out while you're here on Byte Marks?
I was hoping that we'd talk about Assassin's Creed, which is my favorite repeating game series.
No, okay, wait. We have to have a separate Assassin's Creed episode because I have shit to say about this as well.
Yeah, a separate Assassin's Creed episode. By shout out, I mean like your Twitter account or your Instagram or whatever. Something that you want people to see.
Want to say.
Yeah, or stuff that you want to say.
Yeah, people can check me out on Instagram. Okay, Madam Cool Kit Kat.
I will put your Instagram in the description.
I'll give you over my Twitter is @_ spelled UNDRSKR. Which they can also use to find me on PlayStation as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. You are a prolific PlayStation gamer. All right. Thanks for that. I'll include all the links in the description. Marvin is a pretty funny guy. You should check him out. This has been Byte Marx. Please, guys, the YouTube channel has been growing a lot lately. If you could help that, by giving us a like or subscribing if you haven't, or maybe even sharing the video, that would be much appreciated as well. We hope you've enjoyed this episode about Pokemon and, of course, repetitive video games. Comment below what your favorite Pokemon is and whether or not you would beat my team.
My team.
Or Callum's team. Callum is the gym leader here. Everyone, have a good evening and take care. Good night.
And just from my side, please check out our Bytemark socials. I also have a channel. It's Grim Monolith. The link should be in our channel about page. Thank you so much to everyone who subscribed recently and followed us on Twitter. That's great. You guys are the best. We recently hit 300 and something. So we might do a special for that sometime next month, but work schedules are kind of busy right now, so I wouldn't hold out hope for it. But thank you so much. If anyone wants to do fan art of any of the great characters that we've made or any of our Pokemon teams, please feel free to send them to our Twitter @ByteMarks, and I will make sure Emilio puts them up on the channel at some point.
We'll do an episode of when we do the Q&As. We will also go through the fan art. Because we will do a Q&A.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Lastly, we want to take a moment to thank our patrons. At the Gigabyte tier, a special thank you to Liam Anderson, Forrest, and Ilya Stope. And of course, our other generous patrons as well, whose names should be appearing now. Your generous donations help us to continue to improve Bytemarks and make it as good as we can get it. Thank you very, very much.